welcome back. Round number 5, final round of Swiss for this Gym Challenge, Premier Challenge. Dennis Geisler joined by Ryan Wayne here for this final round of Swiss.
What is up, guys? My opponent dropped, which means I get the benefit of getting a free win and commentating with you guys. So that's going to be fun.
And you are familiar with both of these teams.
Yes, I have lost to both of these people, one on stream. And for Alexis, that was my round 4. She is a tough opponent. She also had an Archaladon. It's just her Archaladon team has 2 genies, one of which is Landorus, that you should not let out of control because it will destroy everything.
Sean's team, as we saw earlier, King Gambit, Incineroar, Landorus, Therian, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Rillaboom, and Farigiraf. Alexis's team, Archaladon, Amoonguss, Incineroar, Thundurus Incarnate, Landorus Incarnate, and Urshifu Rapid Strike.
All right, one thing I will say about Alexis's team, similar to the team I was trying to bring, this one is not very dependent. She did not once press Rain Dance when I was facing off against her. And when it comes to Sean, he is familiar with this archetype a little bit. He is using the opposite Landorus, the Therian form. So, and he does have a bit more, I would say, speed control. However, you don't want to always press Trick Room with an Amoonguss on the opposite side. Yeah,
exactly. Well, and I mentioned, as I was talking about with your game earlier, the double Intimidate doesn't do a whole lot against Alexis's team like it didn't against your team. There just aren't a whole lot of targets to hit with that Intimidate. No. So cycling those Mons isn't as important as it can often be.
Very much so. She has a lot of special attackers. She could always lead with double genies, as well as Incineroar is more support where it doesn't need to be, and now we are getting double genies. I called it. Yeah. I know my opponents well.
Exactly.
After they beat me.
After they beat you.
And then we have Rillaboom and King Gambit on the opposite side. Now, speed doesn't matter too much here because both Rillaboom and King Gambit both have priority here. I will say the difficult thing with this Rillaboom, it does not have Stomping Tantrum, so if the Landorus does Terra, it won't be doing too much damage unless it's coming from the King Gambit.
Yeah, and even that King Gambit shouldn't be doing ludicrous amounts to the Landorus right now. And that Landorus, as you mentioned earlier, it's some of the best damage you're going to get in this format. Sheer Force, Life Orb, stacking damage on damage.
Alright, we're going to see the Landorus protect right here. And I'm assuming that Big Out is going right into that slot. Alexis protected correctly.
Nice play out for that first turn.
And then the Thunder Wave. This is what got me against Alexis. She Thunder Waved my Baxcalibur for paralyses. Yeah. All right, now we're going to see the King Gambit Sword Dance. Left it alone, now it got more dangerous.
Yeah, and we saw that before, just getting that ×2 attack on the King Gambit. Once it's able to just start launching these sucker punches, it can be pretty dangerous. True. And Landorus can't do much about this right now.
No, because like it's kind of the tough thing because he could go into this slot with the counter. The most likely attacker is going to be the Landorus, so it's probably the safest one to sucker punch into. Granted, it also just protect. However, this Thundurus has a lot of, it utilizes its Prankster very well, so it's a safe bet going in there. But is there going to be a switch up? Oh, she is going to Terra.
Good Trastle here. Boys, this can be that Landorus.
The poison type.
I won't do too much about any dark moves here, but we'll obviously reduce anything that Rillaboom is able to do.
Oh yeah, more so than usual because it was a neutral hit if it went for Grassy Glide or Wood Hammer. Now it will be resisted fully. So double Terra this round, and we'll see the Dark King Gambit in full swing.
We've seen Sean do this before, where as soon as he gets that bonus, just starts launching out attacks.
And oh, critical error, using a Prankster move against a Dark type.
And with that Terastal, it actually let it take the hit. So Kowtow Cleave, that's definitely going to get rid of that Landorus.
Erased. So that's Alexis's Terra. Wiped out kind of early in this game and not really accomplishing too much. Alexis definitely has to backtrack a lot in order to try and catch up. And with this Wood Hammer, it does over half.
This is way more than I would have expected.
Well, there is a little bit of Rocky Helmet chip.
Yeah.
I don't know. it's always the tough thing about having paralysis on a team,
Yeah.
because on the one hand, you don't want to have to rely on it, but it can come in clutch and sometimes. But,
yeah.
you know, it is tough always building a strategy around it. It is useful, and then the reduced speed will definitely help, but we already saw in the back, so that Paraparig is not in there to trick room. But we'll see. So the Arch Aladon is going to come out. Now, do we think that Alexis is going to press Rain Dance here?
I don't know. I don't know how necessary it is in this spot, I would say.
I think the tough thing is Rillaboom is kind of useless right now, except for one more Woodhammer into that Thunderous.
Yeah.
That Arch Aladon can pretty much go into anything. It can do a body press into the King Gambit or the Rillaboom. Maybe try and raise its special attack, because King Gambit is, what is that, like 1/4 left? All right,
Yeah.
we're going to see the Rain Dance.
The rain. I'm interested in that. I wouldn't have hated a Wild Bolt Storm there.
Now, well, if it lives, it will be able to do it without any risk of, ooh, just by the skin of Arch Aladon's teeth. Very nice. And the Electro Shot is going to come out into that King Gambit slot, most likely.
Most likely, but it's so low on HP at this point. It might get finished off by... Rillaboom will probably target with the Woodhammer, but either way, Rillaboom will probably pick up a KO with a Woodhammer here.
If the paralysis does not pull through.
That's true, if the paralysis does not pull through.
Let's see how Sean's luck is today. It goes through.
Alright, it does pick up the Thunderous, which is probably the better case scenario,
Yes.
to be honest, because Arch Aladon not going to be doing much right now.
Not really, and unfortunately for Alexis, she is now down to her final 2 Pokemon. Arch Aladon hanging on by a thread. And yes, we both see that Ogerpon and Landorus, both speedy Mons. One of those will easily take out the Arch Aladon, and yeah, it's looking a little bleak for Alexis right here. So I think at this point, it's, if I was in Alexis' shoes, how do I reassess for next game?
Yeah, it's a big question. I think of how do you make sure you open well for game number 2, because I feel like game number 1, just letting King Gambit, and that was something I thought about. It is the Amoonguss as the last Pokemon. I was a little bit surprised about that. To finish, just to finish my point and then get on to the other point, when I looked at the King Gambit the first time, I was a little surprised it was Swords Dance. And now I see the vision.
Yes.
Over like the Iron Head or something like that.
Sometimes, you know, that is always the thing, like going for coverage or going for those status moves. But I mean, the great thing about doing it on King Gambit, if there's a bigger threat on the other side, or you're able to get that fake out off onto at least one Pokemon, you're able to go for it. So that's one of the things that makes Rillaboom and King Gambit actually a very dynamic duo, because if you get the right Pokemon to flinch, then King Gambit pretty much gets a free Swords Dance off.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to see Alexis protect here with the Amoonguss. Stomping Tantrum goes into the Arch Aladon slot.
Yeah. I think at this point it's just a matter of time on that Amoonguss.
Yeah.
It'll take a minute. It's the Ogerpon and the Vac. The Landorus is Choice Scarf, so it'll be locked into the Stomping Tantrum unless it wants to.
It's not a bad move to have. It's neutral.
Yeah, it's neutral.
And
it can't Terrastalize
Sean
anymore,
has 3 Pokemon, so if he feels that it's not doing enough damage, he can always switch back out and then go for something else.
Although I think it is still probably the best damage that Sean's going to get, because it can't Terrastalize anymore. There's the Paralysis turn, finally.
All right, now what does she go for here? She goes for the Spore into the...
This may take a while.
Not giving up. I love it. I love
do like
a
it.
contestant who does not give up, fights to the bitter end. She could be stalling to try and figure out a new strategy, which, you know, you might as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like how in chess you have like the you know, you've got your own time, you press the thing. The time is one of your resources in and of itself.
Exactly. Time to think, which you have at least 45 minutes per turn, and then you have the animations that go on throughout the battle, and then, you know, so this is extra time Alexis could be using.
And let's not forget, Amoonguss does have Citrus Berry as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it will be here for a while. Okay, Alexis is done.
So I would say, I like a trainer that doesn't concede. Wait.
I also like a trainer who doesn't waste my time.
I do, but my inner warrior just loves seeing someone go down swinging.
All right.
But she saw the writing on the wall.
In any case, Sean wins game number 1. Sean's at 3-1, Alexis at 2-2, and another win for Sean will certainly put him through to top cut.
Oh, definitely. Congratulations to Sean, by the way. Both of these trainers, both of them made me, gave me a run for my money. Not a big accomplishment.
Say they beat you. They didn't give you a run for your money. They just straight up beat you.
Yes. I was trying to possibly talk myself up for tomorrow.
That's fair.
Not let these losses get to me.
You made a lot of good plays when I watched you play against Sean earlier.
Thank you.
I like your team quite a bit. I'm excited to.
I liked it. I saw Cybertron using it, and I didn't get much practice. I've just been busy in my personal life, but and that's always the thing. Do you go with what you know, or do you try something that you have a little practice with and you like? That's always the debacle, because with Regulation F being such an open format, there's so many different routes you can go in that regard.
Yeah. That's something I've thought about, where in the first couple, it was just 2 weeks ago that it felt like everyone was using Entei.
Yes.
Assault Vest Entei. I have not seen an Assault Vest Entei today. I don't know if I've seen an Entei at all.
Have we seen his Paradox form?
We have not seen Gouging Fire either.
No.
And I took a quick look at all the team sheets today, because to pick for what was on stream is the actual reason. It's funnier to say that I just like snooping through everybody's Pokemon. And I don't remember seeing Entei or Gouging Fire anywhere, which was surprising to me. I think those are both really nice choices, and those were things that everyone was using 2 weeks ago at the pre-Charlotte. So I don't know. It's such a dynamic format, and it's changing so quickly. And I think there are so many things that are good in this format.
Oh yeah, I agree. The burden of choice. There is a thing called choice paradox. But enough of that. We're going into the battle, and we are seeing the Landorus Incarnate back again, and we're going to see it with Mungus as well as the Rillaboom and the Ingambit.
I like this here.
Yes, very good. One thing that cannot be spored into, we can get that fake out off really nice. Now, will Alexis protect again, or is it kind of telegraphed?
Well, I think the question here, I like the change up from Alexis, because now you are at least forcing a serious decision where, one way or another, if Alexis makes a good read here,
yes,
she can negate a fake out and cripple the King Gambit.
Now, the bold thing about going into, I think it's an easy spore into that slot where the King Gambit was, because even if it switches out, the only other thing that he has is Ogre Pawn, and I think it's a worthy gamble.
Yeah.
I don't think you could bring Ogre Pawn out there, but I don't think it does anything. So we're going to see the fake out land into the Landorus.
Fake out, just no protection from Alexis.
Nope. And then to the Spore.
Ooh.
And then, the safety goggles.
And Incineroar. We haven't seen a lot of safety goggles so far. It's been a lot of citrus and sometimes Assault Vest. Haven't seen a lot of safety goggles, but that's the use case. And Amoonguss has ticked up in usage quite a bit lately, so that's a nice little play there.
No, very, very good.
Still not a bad spot for Alexis to be in.
Just a little chip for Landorus, and then I mean, definitely.
And now it's another fake out turn potentially, but now you can protect your Landorus if you want.
Yes.
These Rillaboom and Incineroar keep cycling out these fake outs.
These double fake out users, they come in clutch in situations like this because Sean's plan, bring back the Incineroar, and okay, you block one, but you can't block both if you go for that 30% chance double protect. So, good read.
Back to the double genies.
Double genies, which means, other than the wood, we do see that the Woodhammer does very well onto the Thundurus. It went for the Landorus slot. Imagine neutral. Now the Flare Blitz will go into Thundurus, and that is over half.
It's good damage.
It is very good damage. Gonna get recoil, gonna get Rocky Helmet. Still at about just a little over, and it's going to be restored by that Grassy Surge.
At the very least, if you're Alexis now, you know that you're not threatened right now. You can just use a damaging move.
Yes. No more fake outs.
No more fake outs, no priority. I mean, there's Grassy Glide,
but it's not going to really do
Grassy
too
Glide's
much.
not going to wreck through anything.
No.
You can just use your moves, and at this point, I don't think it's a terrible time for Landorus to Terastallize.
No, I don't think so. Looks like he's considering bringing back the King Gambit.
And I think at this point, the question for Sean is, if you use Sludge Bomb into one of these slots, there is a chance that it gets blocked by King Gambit coming in. If you use Earth Power, there's a chance it gets blocked by Landorus coming in.
Yeah, Sean has to predict this. Alexis knows this coming into the back.
Yep.
And you're going to see the Terra. Is it going to be the Terra Poison?
I think
It
is.
is.
It will be Landorus. It means it will get that Grassy Terrain recovery, which is nice.
Which also will
Nice
help
little thing.
mitigate a little bit of that Life Orb damage.
Doesn't take Life Orb damage. Sheer Force
Oh.
is crazy.
Oh, it doesn't do that. You see, this is why I went to 3-2.
Sheer Force is a very, very silly
2-3.
ability. And it
Sludge
was
Bob
going to
went
be...
into the King Gambit. Oh, it went into the Rillaboom.
Was
So,
nice.
wasted move.
reasonably nice call out there. But even
Yeah.
still, I'm curious. At this point, I think if you're Sean, you still have to find a switch here, because I think King Gambit, like, I don't think a Sucker Punch is going to finish off Landorus right now.
No.
And
Yeah, when it switched out, hasn't done any moves in that first part. Last round, went for the Sword Stance right straight away, but that's also because you had the safety of a Fake Out.
mhm.
Doesn't have the luxury this time around.
And now this is a reasonably safe Sludge
Wood
Bomb.
Hammer.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
wait, Wood-
I'm talking from Alexis's side. It's
Yeah.
a reasonably safe Sludge Bomb, since you know King Gambit can't be in that slot, and King Gambit protects anyways.
Goes for the attack. Maybe fearing a Sandsteer Storm. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps.
See that as the fourth move. Sometimes you'll see Substitute. Going to hit Rillaboom.
I mean, especially on a rain team, why
Mhm.
not? Because it's another move where you can hit with stab into both slots. So why not? Now we're gonna see the, oh, we're gonna see Alexis, the Electric Queen.
the hold for paralysis moment.
Yes.
That should take down the Thunderous.
It does, and
That's not bad for Alexis though, because Thunderous was basically expiring in terms of its value. It
Yes.
got the Rain Dance up, it got a paralysis up onto the Rillaboom, which
a little
is
chip.
about what it wants to get done. So it's not a bad opportunity now for Alexis to get something else in, and if you can get a Moongus back in here, no, Archaladon. I like that as well, because neither of these Pokemon is really that threatening to Archaladon. You can get an Electro Shot up. There's potentially a Landorus in the back blocking it, but that's not the worst thing in the world. And that's the only thing that can block it.
Yeah.
If you predict that correctly, you've got that right. And other than that, these Pokemon are basically just stamina fodder at this point,
That is true.
currently.
We do see that Sean brought a very physical team.
Mm-hmm.
There is no special attackers. Actually, if we look at his team as a whole, there is the only special attacker is that Farigiraf. So Archaladon, a great choice. Glad she brought it into this one, because I see the logic.
Mm-hmm. Isn't going to be able to... It's not going to be able to Terrastallize, so something in the back, like a Stomping Tantrum, will be pretty dangerous to it. Maybe King Gambit switching out, so if it is a Sandsear Storm or an Earth Power into
There
that
we
King
go.
Gambit, then Landorus is going to be very happy.
Time can tell.
Only time can tell. It'll be a
Sandsear
Sandsear Storm
Storm.
again.
Will it take out the Rilla?
It's going to be close.
It
It will.
does. All right. So what did this Archaladon go for?
I don't think it matters. I think Dragon
If it
Pulse is
went
the
for
only
Dragon
move that's
Pulse-
going to do anything.
Well, on the plus side for Alexis, it does, regardless if Electro Shot hits or not, it will raise the special
it does
attack
raise
no matter
the special
what.
attack.
Yes.
And that's fine. That's actually totally fine for Alexis.
True.
That's
But
pretty
now-
good altogether.
But now you are in with two Pokemon that... Oh, and the drain is gone. You are in with two Pokemon against a Landorus, which is a force to be reckoned with that Stomping Tantrum. And it's both super effective on both. I think it's going to be tough for Alexis to pull through here. I mean, she's done damage. She took away the Rillaboom. Granted, other than that Thunderous, Rillaboom wasn't really doing too much damage to anything else.
Yeah, and I think it's a question here. One, how much does do either of these Pokemon do to Landorus? And two, how much can Landorus one-hit KO either of these Pokemon? I don't know.
If Alexis's Archaladon is similar to my build, I think it was able to survive one.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, Landorus can't protect. Landorus can't protect itself.
No, it cannot.
And so it could be hit pretty hard.
Alexis will be going out into the... Is it going to be the Amoonguss?
Gotta be the Amoonguss coming back out from earlier.
There we are. All right.
Take less damage against the Landorus.
It will.
I like this now. You know, because you stall out the fake out turn.
Yes.
Which would have gone into the against the Landorus.
Yes. Another great thing too, Incineroar is out, doesn't have to worry about safety goggles going into that one slot. If the Landorus stays or switches out, it'll put something to sleep. If that is so, Alexis' plan right now.
Yeah, I think the big thing though is that Alexis is able to Rage Powder away the Landorus Therian.
Yes.
Which means that Alexis' own Landorus is not in danger for at least one, if not two more turns, and finish off the Incineroar probably anytime it wants with Earth Power.
True.
Can go for a Sludge Bomb onto the Landorus Therian. That should be probably still should get it done in 2 shots.
In 2 shots, perhaps, but we see him going, what is he going to go for here to try and take it out? It's going, looks like he's doubling in. Going to see the Terra into the Terra Water.
It's Terra Water Incineroar, which means it won't be weak to Earth Power anymore.
True, but that Terra boosted Sludge Bomb is still going to do a decent chuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, we're going to see the Rage Powder. You called it, yeah.
I like that choice because it'll pull away the Stomping Tantrum, which will not finish off the Amoonguss, so it can do another one if it wants to. Actually, it has the Citrus Berry, so it might be able to do 2 of them. It'll be close. It might not be able to do 2 of them, but it'll be very close.
Earth Power goes in, and just by the skin of Incineroar's teeth.
I liked that as a potentially safe play. Nice. Actually, it ended up fine.
The damage calcs and all that afterwards, it's tough to say how, how much in favor it was on Sean's side. But Sean, it's looking tough right now for Alexis. That it can only take, that Amoonguss can only take really 1 more hit from anything, and then Landorus, it's open season.
At the same time, the Amoonguss did buy a lot of time, because the Amoonguss can do 1 more Rage Powder and finish off the Incineroar, and at that point it'll be a 2-on-2, where I'm not going to say it's a good spot for Alexis, but...
Can at least take down 1 more Pokemon.
You can certainly take hits. You're not going to be in total danger here. I think this actually could be a really good spot for Alexis.
It really depends on how this resisted Sludge Bomb would do damage into it.
I think this is an opportunity just to finish off the Incineroar, personally.
But I mean, like, after the fact.
Yeah.
Because then you have King Gambit, and then the Landorus.
Ooh, okay.
Oh. And does it? It does about half.
I'm not violently against that. It means the Incineroar will drop on its own.
Yeah.
It means the Incineroar got another Flare Blitz off, I think is my biggest issue with that.
Yeah.
Because now this puts a lot of pressure on Archaludon to finish off this, because there's no way to redirect the Landorus Therian anymore. It is going to take down the Landorus on the other side, the Landorus Incarnate.
Yes, Archaludon is back. It could definitely go for that Body Press.
I think Body Press should be able to destroy King Gambit.
But is that too obvious? Is that too obvious a read? Do you go for maybe a Dragon Pulse into the Landorus?
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, where since the Landorus is unable to protect itself from anything, one of these 2 Pokemon has to be standing at the end of this turn. Get rid of the Landorus. Hope to win separately.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes you have to hold on to hope.
Yeah.
You either hope that a crit is on your side, you either hope that there's a misplay because they misread what you're trying to do. That is a thing where sometimes you see these big misplays, and then it's like, oh, your opponent thought you were going for something totally different because they misread the situation.
Protect versus Protect. Stomping Tantrum reads out
and
the Protect.
Lives. I knew it.
Does take the hit. Will get the stamina boost. It won't take too much more of that. Does go for the Dragon Pulse.
Does this eliminate the Landorus? It does with a critical hit. Alexis is, nah, fam. I am not giving up. You're gonna have to earn this victory if you want to punch your ticket into the top cut.
Yeah, and I believe this will win Alexis this game number 2. I think Earth Power or Body Press will be able to finish off King Gambit at this point.
And then we see it. It doesn't even take it out. Archaludon. There is a reason why I brought this Pokemon. There is a reason why Alexis brought it. This is why we see it in the usage. There we go, and that will bring us to a game 3. It's not over, people.
It is not over at all, and that I really like how the end of the game of that was played by Alexis, and just that read right at the end, knowing that the Protect was coming out.
Exactly. This is why you never give up. Always consider, is my opponent going to Protect here, and does it make sense? Because if it does, if your opponent is a person that wants to play safe right there, or, you know, then maybe make that bold decision.
Well, and it's interesting because Sean also went for, or excuse me, Alexis also went for a Protect, and Sean also read that Protect.
Yeah.
Going for the attack into the Archaludon instead of the finisher into Landorus. But it just didn't matter because that one didn't do enough damage to KO. I wonder if Dragon Pulse is naturally without the crit enough to do it.
It depends on the effort values.
Yeah.
It depends. Usually, if it's the standard build that you kind of see floating around, there is a lot more focus on special defense than an HP to kind of keep it around, and then you use Electroshock to raise up your special attack. However, you know, that's the team that I saw and I used. I also, before using that team, when I had Archaludon, had max special attacks. So it really, really depends how it's trained.
Yeah, I think my go-to is it's close. TM.
It's close.
Like, it was close. You know, who could say if the crit mattered?
And then, you know, that's one of the benefits as a spectator and as someone who's playing, because you know, you learn something from everything. You know, in this game 3, if we're in that same situation and the crit doesn't happen, which statistically speaking will probably not happen, we'll see if it was just luck that brought this game 3 or some mad big brain move calculations.
Yeah, and for all that's happened in the first 2 games, we're in game number 3. This will decide it. Last game of Swiss. Period.
I'm excited.
I think all the other players in the venue are also done. So I think this is the last game of Swiss. Period. Before we get to Top Cut.
All right, here we go. Starting off the match 3, we're going to see. Ooh, we are going to see that Landorus and that Amoonguss again. And yep, Sean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Going with the Rillaboom, going with the King Gambit. Now, he switched out of the King Gambit last round, and in the first round, he did his Sword Stance. Do you think you go back to the opening move, or do you kind of like, what do you think?
I think the problem is that with the fake out pressure, there's not really a good answer other than leaving. I guess the extremely hard call is assume Landorus Incarnate here is going to Protect.
Yes.
And go for a Sword Stance while fake outing the Amoonguss.
Do you think...
But that feels really dangerous.
Do you think she goes for the Spore again? Because that's what got her last time. And granted, she was able to turn it around, but...
I think the issue is that there's nothing really better to do. Like Pollen Puff, I guess, but that doesn't do that much to really...
It's a little bit of... It's a little bit of chip, but yes, I agree.
Like, it's not a horrible spot to be in, but this is a similar spot where it's like, okay, I take a little bit of chip.
A little bit of Rage Powder.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the priority bracket fake out does supersede the Rage Powder, so that wouldn't even work anyway because, you know, Rillaboom is a grass type.
I think genuinely the best move there might have been to Pollen Puff the Landorus.
Yes.
Heal it up from the chip damage it took
a little
from
bit
fake
more.
out.
Yeah.
Not that it would have mattered that much.
But, you know, still, it brings it back to top. And you know,
every little bit does count, but that's the thing where I don't think this, and now we're in the spot again where the fake out pressure is applied onto the Landorus, and Amoonguss is sitting here in front of 2 targets that it cannot Spore or Rage Powder.
All right, the Landorus is being switched out.
First time we're seeing this. It goes
into the Archaludon.
That's a fake out, then it'll get the free defense boost, basically.
Ooh, very nice. And as we saw, Sean is using a very physical team. I think the only thing that... Did Sean bring the Ogre Pawn?
Don't believe so, but we'll see.
Yeah, because, you know, if we're looking for something...
It's a nice call from Alexis. Yes. Really, really nice call.
Getting that defensive boot. You know, the double switch out is always a big gambit. But, oh, the Thunderous survives.
I did less damage than I anticipated, to be honest.
Oh, okay. So if Alexis can get a similar damage roll, this Thunderous could survive at least 2 hits.
Yeah.
It just really, really depends right here.
I think regardless, it can get the rain up if it wants to.
Oh, yeah. But, that's always the thing. Sometimes you want your Pokemon to do a little bit more.
Yeah. I guess the question is, what else would the Thundurus do this turn?
Go for
Thunder Wave or Wild Bolt Storm are the other options.
Thunder Wave.
I don't think Aerial Impulse is a great option here.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything to Incineroar because of the dark typing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for the Rillaboom, perhaps you do go for, if you wanted to, go for, let's say, the Thunder Wave. You technically could.
Mm-hmm.
Reduce its speed, potential paralysis. We are going to see the Rain Dance.
I think just the opportunity of getting that Electro Shot is nice. It's not super necessary, but it's a nice option right now.
And yes, the Thundurus has been taken down. Rocky Helmet damage and recoil will go back to the Rillaboom. And now... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm just saying again, if it gets the pressure off of everything else and gets the rain up and gives Archaludon that +1 special attack, I think it's done its job.
It's done its job. And sometimes that's all you have to do.
And this thing's looking scary.
Oh yeah, and
ooh, that's a lot
stronger.
of damage.
It's over half, and then there it is using that powder shot.
Well, at least it's the special attack bonus.
Yeah.
It's still doing real damage, and that Electro Shot's still going to be a 1-turn move. There's no way to overwrite this rain right now.
No weather control on Sean's side. All right, so we're looking at game.
If you're Sean, you might have to try to play around like a really nice Terrastal play, I think, because otherwise this Archaludon is gonna just start launching out damage, and it's gonna be really hard to answer.
Yeah, the first time the Stomping Tantrum went into it in the previous match, it was without any stamina boost, so it's already gonna have that going against going against it. We're gonna see this Amoonguss on Alexis' side, both of them bringing the same team. All right, we see King Gambit, we see Incineroar in the back. Thinking about training in that Incineroar, resetting that fake out, and then I do think Grassy Terrain is about to expire as well. Oh, we're thinking about the Terra.
Hold. This could be a situation for a pretty crazy read, because I think that the Terra is not a terrible option to try to take down the Amoonguss, but you're putting yourself in danger of getting just absolutely destroyed.
Because that's the one thing, Electroshock doesn't go into ground types, but now it will be wide open.
Yeah,
I don't think
Incineroar's back in, so Electroshot against either of these targets would knock them out, I think.
No, because it would have been resisted on the Rillaboom, and then it would have been not very effective.
It's got to be. It's got to at least be Sean assuming / hoping that no Electroshock comes out this turn.
Hoping that Alexis uses the Rage Powder and then calls it correctly. Here we're gonna see. Oh, didn't even go for the Rage Powder.
Didn't go for the Rage Powder, but I guess it doesn't matter. That Amoonguss is super gone.
Could it even protect? Let me see.
It did have protect.
It did
so
have
was able to do that if it wanted to.
Body press is going to Incineroar, and it is going to be taken down.
Yeah, I think the problem here is Landorus has to switch out. I don't think Terra Blast is going to do enough to Archaludon. I don't think anything here does enough to Archaludon except the Stomping Tantrum. So I think
definitely has to switch
Landorus
out.
Has to switch out here, and it's a really obvious switch.
Here's the thing too, Alexis,
you can keep it in for one more turn to try to attack the Landorus Incarnate, I guess, but it's still a really rough spot to be in.
You also have the King Gambit that could potentially do something into that slot, whereas, its thing is you don't want King Gambit to get any damage more than it needs to right now.
Yeah.
Especially because with that Archaludon, barring a crit, that defense is just going to get stronger and stronger. And I think when we see him looking right here, switching into that King Gambit, and the tough thing is, with that Terra used, it's going to be quad weak to a body press.
Yeah. And so if this was read by Alexis, as it realistically maybe should have, this could be a really easy spot to get rid of that King Gambit.
And the fake out goes into that Landorus slot. Doesn't have to worry about a second one.
It's going to be Electroshock. I don't dislike that.
No, I mean,
we saw Dragon Bolt do good
keep
damage
raising
earlier.
Your stats.
Yeah. Well, it's now just back up to +1 because of the parting shot earlier, but it's still not a bad choice. And hey, that's good damage. It's a reasonably safe call. That's good damage.
Decent shot, over 50.
Yeah. And now, yeah, you can feel pretty safe to either click Electro Shot again. Real, like, what's the downside of clicking Electro Shot into that slot again?
No, none at all. Unless there's a Protect. But then again, Rillaboom will not be doing too much damage into this Archaludon.
Well, and not only that, if Rillaboom is slower than Landorus Incarnate, it'll just get taken down by Sludge Bomb. That's a pretty free Sludge Bomb.
I think Alexis has.
It's a really good spot for Alexis to be in.
I think she has found a way to make it on into this tournament in a 3-2 spot.
Not gonna call it just yet. A really good Sucker Punch maybe into the Landorus, and then the problem that Archaludon's really big.
The Archaludon is big. Its defenses will get stronger with every hit. It is very favorable. It's never over. You know, it's not over until the last Pokemon faints. And we're going to see that Archaludon go into the Fairy typing.
I don't hate this. It's not a terrible decision. I think, given that you are pretty confident you're getting rid of Rillaboom this turn, it means that you resist everything. At worst, you resist everything.
Oh, the Landorus does survive the Sucker Pump. The Sludge Bomb goes into the Rillaboom. Now, it looks like, you know, this King Gambit is going to be taken out with whatever move, whether it's the Electro Shot, which it is.
And I like that play from Sean. I think the Sucker Punch into the Landorus was playing to your outs. I think that was the right option there.
Yes.
Downside, it didn't KO, and now your Landorus is going to get destroyed.
Yeah, and the thing is, Rock Slide won't really. It can do flinches, but like it's not enough damage output to take down this Archaludon.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to man, I think you have to click Terra Blast. I really don't know what the answer is here. I think you lose is the answer.
It is, but like I said,
keep clicking Terra Blast, see what happens.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. A crit could always happen. I don't think you go for Rock Slide. For another reason, it will potentially have the chance to miss.
Yeah, well, and more than that, you're just going to boost Archaludon's defense like
each time
really, really high.
Yeah,
I think you have to Terra Blast.
Yes, you are. You're right.
You can't Stomping Tantrum because it won't hit Landorus.
No.
You can't U-turn because it won't finish off Landorus.
That is always the.
And will do nothing against
It is always the
Archaludon.
gambit of the choice item, locking yourself in this end game into one move with two Pokemon where it's not ideal for.
Nice little read there.
Very good read.
We'll see how much this does. It's only at one additional stage of defense for all that we've said. And it is a neutral hit here.
Ooh.
But that's still not enough damage.
No.
That's still nowhere near enough damage.
The defensively strong gets more defensively strong. We're going to see this Electro Shot go into this. Ishan has already taken off. They're already talking, and it looks like Alexis will be ending with 3-2, same as Sean. But great three-round game from both contestants.
Absolutely. There's the one-hit knockout. Ring the bell. Goodbye, Landorus.
Very well done. Very well done to Alexis. Very well, Sean. Y'all gave us an incredible final round before Top Cut.
Absolutely, and we'll see. We'll have to tabulate the results to see whether these players float through on their 3-2 records.
It's that resistance. It's how well their other. I didn't do too well, so I'm not going to be too much help for them. But you know, I got one more win for them. But yeah, no. I'm
hey, the
excited.
most important stat is wins and losses.
Exactly. But yeah, both of them great players. Either way, they should be proud of how they played today.
In any case, we will step aside, tabulate those results for Top Cut, and we'll be back with the quarterfinals. Do not go anywhere.
Peace.